Well, here we are. Here we are, guys. Welcome to the stream. We've got 6 people watching right now. No one in chat right now, though. It's me, Santa. There's a skeleton, which is the you recognise from the Nightmare Before Christmas.
Skeletor.
And then there's Harry, who is the Arizonian. Evening, J. Thomas. How are you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing good. How are you doing, Jacob? You doing fine?
I'm doing fine, thanks. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. That's good. Who's your friend?
This is Jessica, and she's special.
Oh my word.
John Geiger now.
Okay, well, this stream's become R-rated. And Harry, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm good. I'm full of busy with work. To be honest, with college, I'm really struggling time-wise for hobby.
J. Thomas, he chose Morty to win against the Squiggly Bug. I'm afraid you're wrong, Thomas. I'm afraid the answer is the Squiggly Bug.
Why is the Squiggly Bug the winner, Phil?
Because why isn't he?
He's the one squiggly boy.
He's got a 4-5 up.
One Squiggly Bug.
He's a squiggly boy.
You notice that was a swarm lord, so in combat he's got a 3 or 5 up too. Because he's got Catalyst. I could do this all day. Evening, James, Cinderberry. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're doing good. Because Phil is a race traitor. Look, right, I think Magnus was in the wrong. I think Russ is the right person in this situation. Dirty Xeno Phil.
Russ is the next Primarch to come back.
But we don't know that, Harry, because we could have Lionel.
He's gonna be.
I'm pretty sure if anyone's to come back, it's the Lion next, Harry, actually.
Right, so I'm pretty sure he's not going to be coming out next week with the Dark Angel Codex.
First time tuning in. How you doing, James? Nice to see you. We're going to be talking about a few things today. Mainly fluff, hence the title of this stream, which is So Much Fluff They Call Me a Wookie.
But we do have a few important announcements first, don't we, Phil?
Yeah, we do.
So do you want to have a go at it?
Yeah. So first off, we need to thank all the people who follow us on Patreon. Every single person who's helped donate to the channel, every single person who's donated anything at all, even your time, that's more than enough. Thank you so much. If you do want to throw us a donation, I'm pretty sure Harry's got it plastered all over the Facebook page where you can go to see the Patreon. You get 1 week. You get to see battle reports 1 week earlier. So no battle reports to stop you from watching, but you can see them 1 week earlier. You can even suggest lists for us to use in even armies. Maybe even throw us a bit of narrative if you so desperately want to.
You get to see sneak peeks at the narrative campaigns.
Oh yeah. There's going to be some pretty good sneak peeks of the narrative campaigns. I finished writing the first 2 missions for the Nid and Blood Angel one. I just got to get my nids painted up for those missions, and then we're basically all ready to go. So they're pretty good. I'm looking forward to that one. But everyone who supports us, that's amazing. Thank you so much. We've had backdrops, managed to get the sort of new starter set for Sigma. We've managed to get the new scenery. We've had so much. It's pretty good. Thank you, Harry. Your audio is super echoey. I'll check that now.
Yeah, just reset my microphone, so hopefully that should be better.
Yep.
So if you would like to donate via PayPal, the email address is darkartisan40k@gmail.com. We had a few donations, especially to get the Blight Wall box, and of course Patreon to help support us. And with this month's Patreon support, Phil, we will be getting chapter approved.
That's great. Looking forward to that.
That is pre-order this week.
Yeah.
Or Saturday coming.
I also think big one. Thank you to Martin War Games, our sponsor. Go to him to get all your wargaming needs. They're really good. And then was there anything else there for us in terms of sponsors and people who help support us?
Nope. If you do become a Patreon, you can get your name at the end of every video.
Yep.
And of course, name shout outs on videos as well.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. I'm pretty sure we didn't have a recommendation from Patreon when we did the Wraith game, the Wraith versus Covens game that you did with Liam. I'm trying to remember who recommended that. Was it J. Thomas who recommended that?
No, I think it was James.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So we've done things in the past where people recommended lists or armies and we've created them and things like that. But that's our first thing on the agenda, and that's done. The next one is actually painting. Jacob, what are you painting, my friend?
I'm gonna be painting some warp talons. There we go.
Painting some warp talons. It's like you've never stopped.
This makes how many?
2.
No, how many altogether?
I've got 10 to do. I'm also going to do 2 raptor jump packs because I've got 2 spangly raptors. They're jumping in a very camp fashion because they don't have their jump packs yet because I lost them, then I found them, now I'm painting them, getting these boys done.
How many do you have that have already painted?
I'm going to estimate roughly 50-55, including the warp talons of raptors and warp talons.
James Jones, my friend. Hi, dudes. I'm working on my Gene Stealers tonight. I've got 5 Gene Stealers done out of 55 for a list. So I want to die already. Since the topic of today is fluff, you guys plan on picking up those Necromunda books? I'm not. I'm not interested in Necromunda other than the fact that part of Leviathan is right outside it, like right on the doorstep. Don't think I'm going to be picking it up unless Gene Steel Cult starts appearing in it again, like it did in the olden days.
Have you seen the rage about apparently killing off the Blood Angels?
We'll get to that, Harry. We'll get to that. That will be on the list later. Where do you guys buy parchment paper for your wet palettes? I can't find it anywhere. Huh?
I use that. Talk about 100 layers challenge. That's probably 1,000.
100 layers. All right, Jacob, calm down. But so Jacob's painting Warp Town today. Jacob's painting Warp Town today. Looking forward to that, and some Raptor jump packs as well. Harry, I believe you're doing Death Watch tonight, aren't you?
Yes, I'm actually fed up of them, right? And I've got everything done for the campaign, but I've got like 10 guys left to do for the entire army. So I'm just like, I might as well just keep going. But I hate highlighting black a lot. And
then tonight for me, I'm finishing off my Maleceptor. I've got the purple to highlight, which is going to be a daunting task. And then I've got the red for like the claws to base, wash, and highlight. And then I've got the tongue to do, and then the brain bits, and then basing, and then he's done. So he's not that far off the Maleceptor.
Quite proud of, Bill.
Pardon?
You know what I'm quite proud of?
What?
You.
Thank you.
You know why?
Why?
Not only have you decided to take your painting to the next level, right? You've decided to stick with your at-heart high fleet, even though it may not be the most powerful.
Some dedication there.
Yeah, some dedication there. I also think it is quite powerful, actually. It doesn't restrict me to a certain play style. Yeah, that's the best thing about it. It doesn't restrict me, which I'm quite happy about. I can switch and change whenever I like.
You can play how you want and still have your feel no pain.
Yeah. That's pretty good. And I do like the fact that it basically encourages me to take more synapse, because all my synapse will have a 6 of feel no pain. Zone flips are going to be so hard to kill, especially when I'm taking 500 points worth of zone flips. So,
is that 3 squads of 6?
No, it's 3 squads of 3 and 2 neurothrops.
Okay.
The 120 points each, so that's 360 plus 140 because neurothrops are so many each. That's 500 points for 7 psychic powers, 1 each on the zone throps and 2 each on the neurothrops. And then they're 3 wounds each, except for the neurothrops who have 5 wounds each. Mix that with a -1 for my malothrop and a 6 of feel no pain, and good luck killing them. J. Thomas, now I'm in the UK, and most of our baking paper is greaseproof, so it doesn't work boo. I don't actually use parchment paper. What I use toilet paper for like to get all my brush, like get all the water off my brush. I think if they're on about that for parchment paper.
No, they're on about keeping a wet piece of paper to wipe the brush on to thin down the paint as the paint.
All right, okay, no idea. I don't do that. I just dip it in. Do what Duncan does. Brains over brawn, Phil. That's right. Oh, actually, that's a really fun thing. It's a lot of brains, actually. A lot of brain stuff. Brains over brawn. That's right.
I just got one more shout out. I want to give a massive shout out to Mr. James Jones for sending me a load of Tyranid spares, which has inspired me to start my next army of Imperial Guard.
What's that foot speed, Harry?
For those of you who don't know what that means, is basically, let me switch to Skype so I can see when my camera is live. So, this is now going to be Basilisk. And obviously I need to put a lump of green stuff on the back with a Carnifex Carapace on. That's going to be my Basilisk. Of course, my Demon Rust Battle Cannon is a miasma cannon, it's an acid spray. And then the Sentinel. So there's the back of a Venom Throat with a Carnifex Carapace on the top, with a heavy flamer and a chainsaw.
It's pretty awesome. Do you know what I really wish? I wish with the jeans to the cool.
6 Sentinels, 4 Leman Russ, and 20 Neophytes, which are Guardsmen.
But in my opinion, I really wish when they brought the jeans to the cult that they took the mining weapons they have on the Acolytes and they enlarged them a little bit and put them as this upgrade kit to the Sentinels, so you could actually have close combat Sentinels. I think that would have been pretty cool, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see all these painted up. Yeah, man, they're going to look good. They're going to look interesting. Harry, that's an interesting thing. Are you going to be painting up how you've done your jeans circle in terms of Imperial Guard? So,
yes.
All right, okay, cool.
I do need lots more Carnifex Carapace, though. That's the only issue. Like, about 6 to 12 more.
That's a lot.
Yes.
That's an awful lot. Get on the Bits website, Terry.
Yep. I've just ordered it as well. I need some parts for my Dante conversion.
I need some tubes from the Tyrannocyte kit. Because that really long time ago, back when Games of War was open, and I dropped, and the wind blew my box of models all out of my hands and down the street, I lost a few tubes on my one of my third Tyrannocyte, and that looks really weird. I'm missing a couple of tubes, so I need to get on a Bits website and look for some spare tubes to put on them, and get my third Tyrannocyte up and running. But that's going to be one of the daunting tasks about my repainting of this new list I'm doing.
Speaking of Tyrannocyte, Bill. Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, look, it's Flying Testicle.
I would check out the local pound shop, especially now that is the holiday season. Bacon Pitch in stock.
That means there's only 200 models I don't own now.
I don't believe that.
Sorry, 3.
I don't believe that.
Why?
I'm pretty sure I can name at least 5. I think I can name 5, Harry, maybe 6.
Well, it depends, because I only get 1, or I get 2 out of that box and not the other one.
I could name 6, maybe even more, Harry.
Harry, then.
All right, okay. You don't have the Red Terror.
Oh, right, I see where we're going here.
You don't have Death Leaper.
Yeah, here we go.
Do you have Old One Eye?
I've got Carnifex.
I guess I'll count that. I'll let you have that, Harry.
Okay.
You don't have a Horospex, right?
No.
You don't have a Pyrovore.
No.
You either gonna have a Tyrannocyte, a Mucilid, or Sporsis from that one.
Yep.
So really, it's up to debate. You could do all 3. You won't have tentacles for the Mucilid if you did all 3. You could not attach the top half, which is what I did with my Tyrannocyte, and have the Spore Assist, but it won't have the same innards, like the same top part on it. So it's really, are you going to do a Spore Assist?
I don't know.
Basically, one of them is not going to be there, which will bring it up to 5. Then you got the Hierophant, the Harridan.
Oh, you don't count Forge World.
They're Tyranid models. You never said Forge World or not. You never said Forge World or not. There's the Hierophant, the Harridan, the other Hero Duel, Sky Slasher Swarms, Shrikes. That's 10 so far, Harry.
Shrikes out in the Codex, Bill.
They're in the Index, and you can still use them. Same for Sky Slashers. The only thing that I need to check, though, is whether I need to bring an old Prime to have the Alpha Warrior Prime special rule affect the Shrikes, or whether the new Prime can still do it.
Basically, I was saying Horuspex and a Maleceptor and then Pyrovores.
Oh yeah, Maleceptor, that's 11. I will have every single model of Tyranids come January.
James says I want Pyrovores so bad. Why are they only in shit cans?
Hey James.
Phil's just bought 3.
And then 3 extra Pyrovores to bring me up to 6.
I only want 2 Pyrovores.
Pyrovores being range 10 is so good now.
Yep.
Especially with a stratagem where you can shoot twice with them. So, I mean, all those guard blobs that people have, I mean, I'm not too bothered. I'll just bring 1 squad of Pyrovores and I'll clear out 6 squads. I just have to make sure I'm within 10 inches of all of them. Which is the only problem.
So, Rick commented on a video that is only available on Patreons at the moment. The follow-up, I'll tell you which was me and Tony versus Raven Guard.
Alright.
And we played the open war cards.
Okay.
And Rick said he actually really enjoyed it, and he played open war with his son. And he really enjoys open war cards.
Yeah. James Jones, no, I didn't pay $22.50 for one model. I played $22.50 times 6, then plus $15.50 and another $15.50. That's for Lictor, Death Leaper, 3 Pyrovores, and 3 Pyrovores for shit models. That cost like 40 points each. I'm dedicated to the cause, James. I'm fully converted into this cult, you know? There's no going back. I'm stuck here. There's no going back.
I can just imagine a fellow with a defiled, uplifting primer with like loads of turrets.
The Codex is my Bible, guys. It's my Bible.
On the subject of defiled, I played with some Nurgle yesterday.
That's pretty interesting, Harry. You played with some Nurgle? Did they win? The better one? If you lost with using my Nurgle, I'll cry. Did Open War getting...
I forgot 1 or 2 rules, but not a lot.
Did Open War again yesterday, and it was a riot. Good stuff for those of us keen to chuck something together over a hectic weekend.
I like the Open War cards. I do.
So, next thing on our agenda is favourite fluff. Jacob, what is your favourite fluff in the entirety of 40k?
If we're going by official canon, I'll have to say the Night Lord's Omnibus. That is just the stuff of that's just great. And it should be canon, still, even though Decimus didn't do anything, even though he's supposed to, but because, Games are company to wank off with the Eldar stuff, especially Gathering Storm Book 2, I reference. It should still be canon. It's been referenced before, I believe, somewhere else. I still believe it's going to happen somewhere. But Ulfwe's going to die. Decimus is going to kill Ulfwe. It's going to happen, boys. It's going to happen. We just need to wait and wait and wait. On a side note, I hope Games Workshop in the character series make First Claw. Really want First Claw.
Yeah. So what is the Omnibus, Jacob?
It follows the story of a group of Chaos Marines, Night Lords, Chaos Marines, and it's their transition. Well, it's not their transition, but it makes comparisons of how they were in Legion versus how they are in 41st Millennium just before the 13th Black Crusade. In the first book, they basically the warband leader tries to sell off Decimus because Decimus has untainted gene seed. Well, they all have untainted gene seed from Conrad Kurz, but Talos can see visions of the future, which is Conrad Kurz's gift. Now, unlike warp seers or anything, or any like warp witches and psychers who can see the future, but obviously with the dark gods playing shits and giggles everywhere, obviously it's not really crystal clear and it can be a bunch of lies sometimes. Conrad Kurz's gift is very pure and it just tells it like it is. It is unbiased. And in the first book, Abaddon tries to recruit Talos into the Black Legion. Doesn't work out for him, so he gets left behind with his squad on a prison planet, which is where they thrive on. But they basically just get left behind and swarmed up, and they end up leaving, fighting some Skitarii, then going somewhere else. A few short stories later, they end up trying to raid a space hulk full of gene stealers, and that's a fun one. The heavy bolter is something to be feared. Then the second one, they meet up with Huron Blackheart to try and get some supplies, and they steal one of his ships because he stole one of their ships. And the third book is they get chased after by Ulfwe Eldar and Jane Zar. And in the third book, they only chase them because they see the doom of Ulfwe belonging to the Prophet of the 8th Legion, which is meant to be Talos, but because Talos has a defect where the gene seed's actively rejecting him, he can't see the vision properly. He's just, when he sees the future, he kind of goes up in spasms and his armor locks up with his body, and he's just literally just like incapacitated for potentially up to a month.
Wow, that's pretty crazy.
Basically, they go to this planet. Jane Zar hunts them down one by one, but she gets slowly injured by one after the other by the whole squad. She ends up, spoilers, she ends up decimating the entire squad, but not until Talos, the last member, severely injures her by blowing her to bits, where he literally grabbing as many frag and crack grenades from his dead comrades and turning himself into a living suicide bomber, and literally just makes himself explode on the scene. Jane Zar's literally like half a torso left, screaming her name, and then a Night Lord's Dreadnought comes along and stamps on her.
That's pretty crazy.
So there we go. Yeah, it's utterly brutal. I thought it was great. But the gene seed somehow survives, and their apothecary, who they nicked off from Huron Blackheart's crew in the second book, he finds some slaves who were aboard, who were the Talos' serfs, and they have a child, and he basically kidnaps the child and turns him into a Chaos Marine, and then puts Talos' gene seed in, and that makes him the Prophet of the 8th Legion, because the gene seed actively works with Decimus, as he's known.
All right, yeah.
And Decimus can just see the future, and his mission is to, at the end of the series, is to reunite he's meant to have already reunited the Legion into a full Legion-sized force. And he said, basically, in the 13th Black Crusade, Abaddon's got everything pinpoint accurate and he's got to succeed, but there's one point that he's missed out or he's just oversaw, and that is Ulfwe will help the Imperium to defeat his 13th Black Crusade, and it will succeed if he leaves Ulfwe unchecked. So Decimus basically says to the Legion, we're going to help. We're not going to necessarily join the Black Legion. We're going to help Abaddon. We're going to go straight to Ulfwe, and we're going to rip it shit up. Obviously, what happens in the gathering, which is one, and I've said this before in previous videos on the channel, but it annoys us because it's just like there's a total disregard and there's a total lack of like understanding there. There's stuff was going to happen, and it didn't happen. So what happened? One of the Codex writers had a strong affectionate feeling for Eldar and say,
yeah. Yeah.
Loved it. There could have been a way to bring Inari out, and that is if they killed or really severely killed Ulfwe, and then Elothan has to use his craft world as the sacrifice to bring out the God of the Dead, or the Eldar God of the Dead. I think that would work a lot better, would have felt a lot more streamlined, and they could have incorporated what they wanted to do anyway. But there you go.
Wow. Hello, Stephen Dunn. I'm waiting, hoping for the Chapter 3 in a box Bio-Pyro 4 kit for around 40, I guess. I'm hoping for to bring out a plastic kit. There was some big rumors ages ago about them being a psychic one called a Psychophol. So I'm hoping that comes out. Cuz is an Uber dick, says James Jones.
Yes. He's a dick. That's why we love him.
Is there a book or anything out there that tells the story of defunct Space Marine chapters like Silver Skulls or Rainbow Warriors? No idea, J. Thomas. James Jones, only Vect is a bigger douchebag than Kurz.
Yep.
Harry.
Yes.
What's your favourite fluff?
Well, funnily enough, whilst Jake was ranting, I actually went and dug through all of my old books that were in the back of my wardrobe, pulled it out, found the page, and found the 2 paragraphs.
Wow. Well, read it.
Okay, so this is in the 5th edition Blood Angels Codex. And I'll read it. Year 798, millennium 41, the assault on Baal. 3 colossal space hulks drop out of the warp in the Baal system, signalling the arrival of War Big Scorcher. Dante orders the deployment of 2 companies to each of Baal's moons. The remaining companies are assigned to strike forces in order to board and destroy the space hulks. 2 of the space hulks are destroyed, with much of the War still on board. Before it is too destroyed, the final space hulk disgorges thousands of orcs, the warlord Big Scorcher among them, onto the surface of Baal. Knowing the bulk of the Blue Angels' force is still in orbit or on the 2 moons, Big Scorcher aims to breach and ransack the chapter's fortress monastery. However, the Blood Angels are not to be so easily outmaneuvered. The chapter's dreadnoughts, deemed unsuitable for space hulk assaults, had remained in battle readiness on Baal itself. With the remains of War Big Scorcher on the loose, Venerable Furioso Astromale assembles all 41 of the chapter's functional dreadnoughts and coordinates the defense of the fortress monastery in what will later come to be known as the Battle of Iron. Although Astromale needed only to defend the monastery long enough for the reinforcements to arrive from orbit, such was the fury with which he prosecuted the brief but bloody campaign. There were precious few orcs remaining when the first Storm Ravens landed. And that is why my Furioso is called Astromale.
That's pretty damn cool. It's pretty damn awesome, I have to admit. My favourite fluff may be finding out that there's a Genester cult on Terra.
Oh, shit, boy.
That might be one of my favourite fluff bits ever. But there's another one. One of my favourites. I'm going to look for it here, and I'm going to read it out to use.
I also like the idea of, I mean, I haven't read it, so I don't know, but Scarbrand think he's big enough to take on Khorne, and Khorne just backhanding him halfway across the galaxy.
Yeah. Okay, so here it is. This is the Battle of Baal.
He backhanded them through time and space.
Genestealer brood swept into these breaches where the fighting descended into frantic hand-to-hand slaughter. At the rear of the Tyranid swarms, a hulking creature surveyed the carnage, observing the Blood Angel's strategies, directing its lesser kin to counter their every move with a cunning born of eons-long warfare. The Swarmlord, herald of the hive mind, had been spawned anew to ensure the Blood Angel's demise. Over the course of weeks, the Scions of Sanguinius hurled back 19 waves of Tyranid assaults, fighting with a valour and skill that honoured the memory of their fallen Primarch. Blood Drinkers fought back-to-back with Angels in Carmine, forming a circle of blades and bolters against phalanxes of advancing Tyranid warriors. Blood Angels' assault marines leapt into the heart of the enemy swarm, hunting the largest and most ferocious monsters. Amidst the rad-scorched desert valleys, massed formations of tanks and artillery clashed with stampedes of charging carnifexes and a grinding, churning maelstrom of metal and flesh. As brave as the defence of Baal was, it could not last. With every Tyranid attack, more battle brothers were slain. 5 chapter masters among the Blood Angel successor chapters gave their lives to hold the back of the surging tide, but as the bodies piled higher, it seemed such selfless sacrifice would be for naught. Baal was ready to fall. It was at this darkest hour that a fresh calamity was unleashed upon Baal's system. In a cataclysmic eruption of empyric energy, the galactic spanning warp storm known as the Great Rift tore open the skies above Baal, burned with etheric fire, and with the rolling depths of the immaterium ancient, malevolent beings turned their dread gaze upon the material realm. Upon Baal Prime, the Blood Angel's successors unleashed the full measure of their hatred against the Tyranid swarms. It was as the fighting upon the moon was at its most ferocious that reality tore open and the scent of the brimstone and burning blood filled the air. With a bellowed chorus of praises to the blood god Khorne, demonic legions boiled from the wildering rift. At their head came a creature drawn from the blackest of nightmares. A bat-winged monstrosity wielding a ruined-marked axe in one clawed fist and a barbed whip in the other. This was Khabandha, bloodthirster of Khorne. No foe was more hated by the sons of Sanguinius. For thousands of years ago, Khabandha had stoked them in the red thirst, the genetic curse which had so ravaged the chapter. Khabandha sought the sole honour of slaughtering the Blood Angels, and had no intention of allowing the Tyranids to interfere before the time of his triumph was at hand. The bloodthirster's legions fell upon both Tyranids and defenders of Baal, and Xenos transhuman blood was spilled in torrents. Tyranid warriors hacked and tore at leering bloodletters, while stampedes of blood crushers swept across the gore-splattered earth, smashing termagons beneath their brazen hooves. But Khabandha stalked through the madness of battle, reaping a devastating toll upon all in his path. With great swipes of his dread weapons, the Space Marine defenders, led by Chapter Master Gabriel Seth of the Flesh Terrors, fell back. Pussy. That's right. Harried on all sides. Only the sacrifice of the Knights of Blood chapter, an excommunicated successor chapter at that, who had nonetheless been accepted as allies by Chapter Master Dante, allowed the survivors to board their vessels and escape. As Baal Prime was overwhelmed by warp-spawned monstrosities as Seth's forces retreated, they caught one last glimpse of the Knights of Blood, hurling themselves into the thick of the close combat with mindless ferocity, fully enveloped by the madness of the Black Rage. In Baal's orbit, thousands of high-fleet Leviathan's bioships were snatched into the warp by calls of empiric energy, or swallowed by rifts in space. Soon only the burning remnants of gutted hive ships remained, drawn in by Baal's gravitic pull to rain down upon its ravaged surface. Now this is the best bit. This is the best bit. This is the best bit to me. Below the raging inferno, Chapter Master Dante led his few remaining warriors in a fighting retreat to the walls of Blood Angel's fortress monastery. Time itself was a victim of the surge in empiric. Insanity, it seemed as if the carnage stretched on for years, as Xenos Space Marine fought the slew racing towards a mutual annihilation. Forward strode the Swarm Lord, entering the fray as its vital juncture, carving Space Marines apart with every slice of its jagged bone swords. Exhausted and filled with sorrow, yet defiant as ever, Dante hacked his way through the press of Xenos flesh with the axe mortalis, seeking the Swarm Lord's head. Under the burning sky, the two duelled, until Dante, bleeding from a dozen mortal wounds, cut the creature down. As Dante collapsed, his anguished warriors straining to reach his prone body, the tortured skies finally cleared, and the storm had passed, and where before the Tyranid armada had bolted the skies, not a single Xenos vessel remained. In their place were majestic imperial ships. Primarch Papa Smurf, Robert Gulman, the resurrected avenging son, had arrived at the head of the In Darkness crusade. And then there's Fury of the Primarch bit there, but I'll leave that. And then it gets to this bit, which is, it's the height of everything. I love it. Can't believe they put this in here. So what's happened is the ships that were caught by the storm weren't destroyed. They were grabbed and thrown out all across the entirety of the 40k universe. And then this one I really like. As Leviathan pushes ever further towards holy terror, Primarch Guilliman dispatches dozens of newly founded Primaris chapters to the front lines of the Third Tyrannic War. We're outside terror, boys. We're knocking on heaven's door. We're here.
We know how the Primaris fared against the Tyranids, don't we?
Yeah. They're going to get their asses burned. But I absolutely love that because it showed the, like, it had an epic duel. Well, it had, like, you know, the Blood Angels were able to hold the line against 19 waves of Tyranids. And it wasn't like, oh, we held the line and we had plot armor and that's why. They lost chapter masters from all chapters. A whole chapter was destroyed. The Knights of Blood, completely dead now. That's canon.
I was listening to the Dante audio book, right, and basically it has him in his war room, Gabriel Seth's with him, and the captain of the second company tries to get him to agree to the Angels of Vermilion fighting alongside them, and he says no. Seth goes absolutely off it. He says no, and he doesn't want to hear about it anymore. So he doesn't let the Angels of Vermilion fight with them, but he lets Gabriel Seth and the fight attempt. And it's all gearing up towards that. But there's one scene where basically they retreat from one of the moons. I think it's
Ball Prime or Ball Secondus? Which one?
Might be Primus. I can't remember because it's not Secundus because that's Dante's home world. It might be Primus or another planet further out. But basically, he's trying to evacuate the entire planet, and he orders the Thunderhawks to basically rescue all the Land Raiders and the Baal Predators and everything. And then he orders the Storm Raven back, and then basically the Assault Marines disappear, and then there's just the Terminators on the top of a fire base with the Sanguinary Guard, Dante and Mephiston. Storm Raven takes off with the Terminators and leaves a handful of Sanguinary Guard, Dante and Mephiston. And then the last Storm Raven pick them up, but it can't land because there's so many Tyranids around it. And the Sanguinary Guard have to fly for the Storm Raven with the jetpacks. And Dante is so enfueled by the Black Rage, he wants to charge forward into all this massive gaunts and carnifex and everything and start hacking shit up. But Mephiston grabs him by the arm and goes, "No, my lord, we must move."
No, my lord.
Takes him by the arm. And then Mephiston sprouts his vampire wings and basically they fly over to Storm Raven and retreat. But yeah, they're talking about some more chapters of the Blood Angels to fight alongside them. And basically Dante is torn. Does he take a fight with the Tyranids and basically get killed in doing so, but do some damage to them? Or like guerrilla warfare, like 100 Marines here, 100 Marines there? Or does he have like a couple of thousand Marines on Baal itself? And that's what that is there. That's the defense of Baal.
Yeah. I do like that they didn't just kill off Leviathan. Thank goodness.
They just moved it.
Yeah, they just moved it all over the place. It's scattered. Which, yeah, I'm fine with it. You know what?
Oh, God.
I had a good fight. Had a good fight against the Blood Angels, but now it's time to feast upon empiric flesh. I'm gonna eat that Emperor, and you're not gonna stop me. It's like forbidden. It's like forbidden love. I'm gonna get to it, and it's gonna be mine.
So what else is on the agenda anyway?
Well, I was gonna talk about these rumors from the Devastation of Baal book, but first, my favourite fluff is the Battle of Shadowbrink and the later creation of High Fleet Kronos and Shadowbrink Round 2. My favourite fluff is the Eisenhorn and Shira Kalpina novels. They give great insights into the everyday Imperium and how grim things are. This proves Dante, Calgar, at his first attempt he killed the Swarm Lord, a Swarm Lord which is more powerful than the one that beat Calgar. Yeah, it does show that Dante is more powerful than Calgar. Hey Sharpie, how you doing, man? Are we doing good? So apparently, I haven't read Devastation of Baal yet. Apparently, Devastation of Baal has Cole cure the Black Rage? Harry, you're a
Now,
Blood
I've
Angel
seen a
player.
lot
How
of
do you feel
people
about this?
rage about this. Now, Kabulo has always looked for a cure and wanted to find a cure. My only concern is, are we going to lose that ferocity in the rules?
Yeah, yeah.
Paul's anything, he shouldn't be the one to kill. Because he's machines, he's not an apothecary.
Yeah, I think.
Okay, call here. He's the magic wand because Cole does everything now. The only thing I want him to
He's
do.
the CEO who just wants to make money.
Yeah. The only thing I want Cole to do now is to ignore good Papa Cheese advice and make traitor legions in Primaris just so that he can just go, whoopsie, I did something wrong. I have flaws. I'm not Mary Sue of magical wands. That's all I want now.
I'm hoping that it's not just Cole cured the Black Rage. I'm hoping it's something more like Corbulo has found all this stuff. There was stuff in Shield of Baal where Gabriel Seth found some stuff on the Black Rage cure, and then like I wanted to be more like Corbulo had this string, Seth had this string, Cole had the actual skills to create it, but he didn't go and actually get it and get the data for it, if that makes sense. Which I hope, but you never know what could happen. I just hope it's not. But I think the Black Rage should never leave, if that makes sense. I feel like it's sort of a point where it's like they can use it to their advantage, but they lose part of themselves. It's like dangerous to go too far. Which I would prefer, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm looking forward to reading it. What I really want to see come up next is the Demonculus War, with the Fifth Sphere expansion from the Tau, the Admech, and then the Raven Guard and White Scars chapters as well. Because the Fourth Sphere went missing, I want to know what happened to it. We probably won't find out until the Codex.
You can find out on Friday.
Will we?
Yeah, Battle Report, Tau versus Raven Guard.
Well, we won't find out what happened to the Fourth Sphere, though. Which is what I said, so I'm not... Okay, Harry. Shameless plug-in. Yeah, so I think we're probably going to have to wait until the new codexes to find out for it, but I hope that's the next sort of campaign bit. Right, okay. Next thing, though, is... So, Jacob.
Yeah.
I know you've made some of your own fluff for your Night Lords.
Oh yeah.
Tell some of it. What's your favorite fluff that you made up for your Night Lords?
Probably Caraxus, the Midnight Messiah, as I call him. That's his title. Midnight Messiah.
Mandrake, master of magic, spells and illusions.
It's basically very loosely centered around Macbeth because a lot of the Night Lord Legion is that just that would spiral from being something of pinnacle or could be something that was great into something that was just the direct opposite of itself.
Yeah.
And the idea for Caraxus, which I have made, is that he doesn't necessarily, relate to Kurz, although he has gene seed and stuff. He doesn't relate to him as a father because he sees too much flaws, and especially when they migrate to Talguska after the bombing of Nostramo and after the Horus Heresy events, he just sees Kurz descend more into the Night Haunter, and he just goes, you know what, I'm off, because that's not what I want to follow. When he was joined to the ranks, he looked like everyone else. He looked up at Sevatar because Sevatar held the Legion together, and he urged to follow after that example and bring the Legion together to make it something worth fighting for again. that the old war hasn't died. It's still there, and they're gonna come back. So he tries to basically reintegrate through Sevatar's ideals and stuff. Tries to reintegrate the Legion, or tries to bring it back through either by communications or by force. But any other Night Lord's warband, he will try and take for his own. But the one thing that stuck by with Kurz and that he agrees with is that he wants to honour the bonds between the Mechanicus, or the Mechanicum, as the Dark Mechanicum, with how many warbands are just pirate leeching off the Imperium here and there, and how the armor's slowly degrading because guess what? Traitors don't get the finest of resources from the Adeptus Mechanicus anymore. So he goes around and finds he finds that nobody attempts, because even among other Dark Tech Adepts, this tech priest Dominius that I've called Zephron, and his title's the Master of Puppets. Yes, there's more references.
Master! Master!
Oh yeah. It's people don't go towards him because he's a bit more compulsive in his need to control things, even more so than other tech adepts. And Kraxus makes deals with them, and this is the classic whole deal with the devil scenario. So he makes these deals, he gets weapons upgrade and stuff. The only thing he asks is that they don't get too mutated, as in like he tries to make them as least mutated as possible, which doesn't doesn't do very well, because when you're in a Hellforge job, they don't really care about rules. If you give them a rule, it's just going, yeah, I'll save it, delete. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So obviously, from that point on, the Legion goes into a downward spiral. He does integrate more and more into his into his warband, which grows steadily. There is a fluff event where I'm not sure what he's going to get horrifically injured by, but he's going to get horrifically injured by something great. Probably, either a character, a Horus Heresy Dreadnought like Contempt or Leviathan, or something like a Titan or something like that. But he gets horrifically scarred and injured. And his wish is that he wants to be interred into an empty suit of Contemptor armor he's found. And that Zephron's rebuilt and stuff like that. But instead, Zephron finds him. He basically kidnaps him and puts his whole skull into Thalak's body. And he litters the body with cybernetic enhancements, but also detonators, so that if Kraxus ever goes against his will, he'll detonate explosives and kill him. And from that point on, which is the whole Master of Puppets title re-emphasised, is then he now controls Kraxus, who was head of the Legion, but now he's just this dark abomination to everything that he despised, because obviously majority of Night Lords, have a very big distrust about demons and monsters, and even to an extent mechanical constructs to an extent, and now he's the dark reflection of everything that he didn't want to become.
Yeah.
Just being this giant robot, cybernetic thing. He was a demigod, and now he's this monstrosity. And that's the whole idea I wanted before Decimus then looks at his Legion and goes, yeah, we'll have you.
That's pretty good. Harry, have you...
Really sorry, bro, I wasn't listening there, Jacob, because I've just seen a trailer for Flash, Supergirl, Legends, Arrow crossover.
Nice.
Or Barry and Iris's wedding.
Yeah. I know the
Spoilers.
Yeah. I know they're meant to be fighting Nazis now, but hey. Yeah, they're fighting like Nazi Supergirl and Nazi Reverse Flash and Nazi Arrow. Yeah, that's funny. Well, funny, but that's fun.
No, it's funny, Jacob.
Yeah, it's both. I mean, have you seen the pictures? It's quite it is all like black leather, and it's like, yeah, okay, I see where this is going.
This is just someone's fantasy.
I see what's happening here. But, I mean, I can't complain. I mean, the actor who plays Supergirl, her in black leather, I'm not complaining.
All right, okay, let's change the subject now. Harry, you've since we've done like campaigns and stuff like that, you've definitely made some fluff. Have you got a favourite bit of fluff that you made up?
The problem is I don't read a lot, so I struggle to make up entire fluff. I've got names for characters and stuff, and I've got like a general consensus of where some of my armies are going, but I don't have as detailed stuff as what Jacob does. So High Fleet Author was a splinter fleet of Leviathan to take on the Blood Angels. Blood Angels I've got initially started as Strike Force Leviathan before the Shielded Baal campaign advanced the story, before Devastation of Baal and all this. I had basically the fourth company. Eldar-wise, I've got the Shadowfax Karlia. I've got the Shadowseer Karlia and Drask Skythorn, my Archhunt, my Dark Eldar, and Alwyn Zantu, Farseer of Craftworld Altanzar. Basically, they work with each other because other Craftworlds don't trust Altanzar because they've been stuck in the warp for so long. So they trust the Dark Eldar and, of course, the Harlequins, and we've got a little bit of a deal going where they'll mutually agree to help each other beneficial. That's pretty much all I've got amongst all my armies. And then, of course, I've got Mars, and House Krast is my knight, because obviously the knights work with the Mechanicum. Krast is closest to Mars, or what was it called? The home planet for House Krast was...
Planet Krast?
No. Something like an emergency, I can't remember the name of it though.
An emergency?
It's something, it's another name for emergency.
Escape!
But, yeah, that's the only fluff I've got really.
So my favourite fluff is one that I've made up for the campaign. So if long-time watchers of the channel know that I used to have, my army used to be a splinter fleet of Leviathan, which looked almost the same, except its skin was cream and the red claws were blue, like a very turquoisey blue. And this was known as High Fleet Karlesh. And High Fleet Karlesh, a backstory was that it was a splinter fleet of High Fleet Leviathan that fought away from Leviathan and wanted to become its own fleet, but didn't really see the opportunity to do so until when it entered into the galaxy, a warp storm hit the tendril of Leviathan, and it basically destroyed a bunch of Leviathan ships, but a whole bunch of Karlesh's ships were destroyed, and the rest of Karlesh's ships were dragged through the warp and thrown out somewhere else. And at this point, this is where like my Gene Stealer cult sort of comes through, where they need to get as much biomass as they could. And then came the day where Leviathan found Karlesh, and Karlesh was sort of had a surprise because they were too focused on converting all the biomass to the Gene Stealer cult. They didn't really expect Leviathan to show up. And Leviathan just absorbed them back in, but not without the Gene Stealer cult fighting Leviathan. But they lost in the end, and instead of giving Karlesh a almost fleet of its own, Leviathan fused all of its ships together to create one big ship, which is now, and everything got repurposed through Leviathan and came out looking Leviathan. So they basically stripped them of their rank in a way, and of their colours and of their privileges for betraying them. But then they put the ship together, and the ship's called Karlesh, and that is sort of the memory of High Fleet Karlesh. But this big, massive ship, the biggest hive ship that's ever seen, you could have Imperial battle barges, bombard it for days upon days, and it would hardly take a dent. So it's normally used for troop carriers. So when it came to Baal, the first time around, it didn't get far enough, and then when the planet exploded from the Necron weapon, it didn't explode the ship, but the ship was very much at the front. Sharpie, that's no moon. And it basically blew up, and it blew a huge part of the tendril with it. And then it came back again, which was the sort of second coming of it in 8th edition. And what Kalesh did was it basically deployed its entire troop front onto the grounds. But because the ship was so big and such a powerful node, hardly any Synapse creatures went down to the ground with them, leaving all the so like Malaceptors, Zoanthropes, and that were all up in the ship as this big massive node. And then all the stuff that have instinctive behavior, like Carnifexes, Hormigons, Gene Stealers, Lictors, Broodlords, they were all down on the ground. And there was just huge hordes of them. And then when the Great Rift came, it took the ship, took the Kalesh big ship and shot it through, and basically all the forces of my army were left on the ground without much Synapse at all. Very little, very few warriors, very few Broodlords, and basically Kalesh ship is gone, and it's appeared near Holy Terror, and then that's going to be the first encounter, the first mission of the campaign is going to be what happens from that ship. The second mission is there's a Broodlord that was a part of the first campaign of Leviathan and Hidden Baal, where the Tempested Scions fought against it on one of Baal's moons. And this Broodlord's actually called the Tempestus Terror because of how much damage he did to so many Tempestus armies and how he coordinated so greatly to counter them so well. And he basically saw the rift happen, and then the Kalesh ship get dragged. So the Broodlord quickly used his powers of the hive mind to control as many of the forces as he could, and basically coordinate them to retreat and burrow and hide as quickly as they can. And doing so, he managed to save so many Gene Stealers and Hormigons, and very, very few of anything else, and a few Broodlords on his side. And he basically rushed them into these burrows. And then when Gulliman came down, he realized that actually some of them actually started hunting down the things that retreated. So he realized he needs to get off the planet. He needs to get his forces away from all this. So they all sort of retreat more, and they hit a fire base. Now this fire base was still got Blood Angels on. It was completely Blood Angels, and he hit this fire base. And his means was to take the Thunderhawk that was on it and fill the Thunderhawk with as many Gene Stealers as he could, and many Hormigons as he could, and even himself, and sort of stir away off the planet in a Baal ship, controlling the pilots with the Gene Stealer hypnotizer that Patriarchs normally have. In doing so, as he was marching towards this, he managed to pick up more Gene Stealers. He picked up a couple of Zoanthropes that were down on the ground, and even managed to get himself a couple of Screamer Killer Carnifexes that were there as well. Even a little bit of Lictor's support as well, and managed to mass this little army that, if it did come to it, won't actually fit in the Thunderhawk. So he decided to come up with a plan that would use the Thunderhawk to infiltrate into an actual airbase and take over a bigger ship to transport all of the Kalesh loyalists, I guess, into that ship and find the actual Kalesh ship that disappeared through the warp. So first mission, Kalesh ship appears near Holy Terror, somewhere in that system, and has an interaction with a mysterious force. And then the second mission that's going to be in the campaign is the Tempestus Terror leading a raid on a Baal airport with loads of Gene Stealers, Carnifexes, Hormigons, a few Zoanthropes and Lictors here and there. And that's basically the first bit. I don't want to add to it. I want to let it play out through my game. So that's what I want to do. Should be interesting. Yeah. So here's something here. Jacob's kind of gone on about this part with Korax with his leader fluff. Harry, do you have like a specific captain of Blood Angels that like you've named yourself and you've given like a story to at all?
I've got Captain Castigon, who is actually the captain of the 4th Company, which my Blood Angels are. He doesn't have a backstory as such. There's not really that much fluff about him.
Oh, okay.
But he has many faces. I have many captain models, and he sees fit the mission at hand and chooses his war gear as such.
That's pretty cool. I don't really have a leader that much, in a sense, for me. But the next one I want to talk about is Xenos Primarch equivalents.
There he is.
So I believe someone in the chat earlier mentioned Vect. I believe if Dark Eldar were to get like an equivalent to their Primarch, it would be Vect. Would you agree? There's Corax on stream. Guys, there's Corax there that Jacob's showing you. Coraxus even.
Midnight Messiah. He has Savitar's face.
Harry, would you agree with me saying that Vect would be Dark Eldar's answer as a Primarch?
Absolutely, but he's simply not going to have Primarch level stats. I think Vect would do well with special rules and buffs. Because let's face it, he ain't physically tough.
I think it'll be more of like with him with his barge, though, right?
If they do the barge, yeah.
Because he also had the orb, and he had a soul trap, which I know because when I killed the Grand Claymore, it made him really powerful in terms of stats. So there's no model for it, and there never has been. It wasn't the Dice of Destruction. He had something else as well. They used to trap all of the souls and everything in. I know exactly what you mean, but I can't think of its name. I know he had an orb or something.
Was it Tesseract Labyrinth? I know it's Necrons.
No. It's a Dark Eldar technology.
I don't know if it was like copied or not. Because I remember there was that triangle thing.
No idea. That was a soul trap.
Dark Eldar Codex, where you've got that Dark Eldar Archon with the giant triangle thing.
Yeah, that's a soul trap.
Soul trap. I think it's just called soul trap then.
No, he had a specific one, and it was an actual orb as well.
Does the same thing though.
Yeah. For Tau, I'm actually hoping Farsight has like a custom Riptide with a big sword or something like that. But I actually just want Farsight model to be updated, and then Shadowsun to get into her Ghost Keel. Pardon?
Shadowsun in a Ghost Keel.
Yeah. I think that's their like Primarch equivalent. It would be Shadowsun in a Ghost Keel. Which I think would be pretty cool. I'm currently cut with my own fluff for my Hive Fleet. I've called mine Hive Fleet Amarok. They were only born by sheer chance long ago before humans even existed in the Tyranids' home galaxy. I think we should alert the Commissar this heretic is wearing a Christmas hat in November. To be honest though, when does Santa never wear his Christmas hat until Christmas?
Sugar, honey, iced tea.
What if this was just a normal hat? Huh? I'm just wearing this hat because I like wearing hats. How about that?
Here's a question. Why does it appear that nobody, when they make homebrew Hive Fleets, why does nobody ever call theirs Hive Fleet Cthulhu?
Because that's too mainstream.
So cliche.
It's great though. I mean, it is. They are like from like the official fluff point standards. All of the Hive Fleets are either mythical beasts or they're named after apocalyptic events. Like I don't know if Juggermunder's a mythical beast.
Juggermunder's a mythical beast. It's like a giant serpent.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Isn't that
Leviathan it's more like a hulking sea serpent, but the Juggermunder is an actual like serpent.
Jumganda.
No, I'm not going to listen to you, Harry. You're the one who started this whole Liberian fiasco.
I did not start it.
You started it. So what's a Kronos then, Jacob?
Sorry?
What's a Kronos?
Yeah. Is Kronos an apocalyptic event?
I don't know.
Fair enough. I'll have to Google it.
I'll Google it right now. I don't know what a Kronos is. But what about other armies? I think Gazgul could be perfect for orcs.
Yeah, Gazgul would be. He's the biggest and the meanest so far. I mean, you could say the Beast, but the Beast's dead, so Gazgul's the next best thing.
Unless the beast didn't die.
What's the Beast?
The one that Vulcan fought and blew up inside like a nuclear reactor.
Alright.
That's the beast.
Was it a giant orc?
I guess you could say that. What class is a giant, Harry? How about you put it this way, Harry? It's giant compared to a Primarch. He's Zeus Daddy. That's how big he is.
So for Eldar, you would have Phoenix Lords.
No, for Eldar, you have the avatars.
Yes.
I would put the Phoenix Lords more in like a chapter master stage.
True.
For Tyranids, obviously, it's just, the Swarm Lord, I guess, gets it, but I want a giant Biotitan.
Dominatrix.
No, I want the giant Trigon from the fluff.
Oh, you mean when Trigons were new?
No. There's Trigons the size of Reaver Titans.
Oh, that thing. Yes, I remember now.
Aren't they? They're not alphas though. The Trigon alphas are already kept. I know the big ones that you're talking about. Are they? Do they have a separate unit stat line or anything? The
Trigon Primes?
No, not the Trigon Prime. The big four-toed one that's the size of a Reaver.
There's no rules or model.
Fair enough. So no, there's that big four-toed model.
There isn't?
There used to be.
No, it was literally just a normal Trigon.
Yeah.
Then they made it plastic.
It's sad though. I really want like a giant bat one as well.
I want a giant bat. I want an alternate Helldrake where it's just a giant bat.
Like if you could probably make yourself one actually, Jacob, with like the zombie dragon.
The zombie dragon gets so fiddly.
Be worth it though.
Yeah, it would be.
Yeah, I want like a gargoyle harpy type Biotitan is what I would want. I'm trying to think. What's the other Xenos dudes? Necrons. Trazen. Like there has to be a new Trazen model now that he basically is the most recent fluff part for them. There needs to be an Anarchar the Traveller. There needs to be a new model for him. He's probably more in the running because he's trying to unite all the
new Necron characters. How about we need some new Blood Angel characters?
No, I'm not talking about new Necron characters. I'm talking about updating them.
Okay, how about some updated Blood Angel models? Considering Kabulor was out 20 years ago when I was playing as a kid.
I'll put it like this actually. I think there's the same amount of Necron Francast mode characters as there is Blood Angel ones.
Yeah, there's like 9 Blood Angel ones.
Yeah, but yeah, I do think I want a flying Turbogon that spawns gargoyles. You mean a Harridan? I'm not joking either.
I'll just be happy for some new Chaos Space Marine characters, like not even just from your own Legion, obviously Decimus, Talos, maybe the return of Scimitar, but I would like to see just Black Library characters like Warsmith Hunzu, the Iron Warriors, some Alpha Legion characters, stuff like that, updated or integrated into the new Chaos Marine Codex since they've taken them out for the Pantheon, at least ones like the Worldies and stuff. They're obviously getting their own codexes for them. That reminds us, I thought Thousand Suns were meant to be coming in December, but that rumour seems to have gone away.
Yeah, Deathwatch supposed to come as well.
Aye. You would have thought Thousand Suns would have been soon since they literally have the whole range done.
I think they're going to add to him. I'm looking forward to apparently this Nurgle release for Sigmar with Pestigors. They're going to be so fun.
When's that apparently out?
January apparently.
Do you know what it is? Like, I know 8th editions come out, but they pretty much ignored Sigma and just went, oh, he's a new General's Handbook. Oh, he's a new starter set.
That was always going to happen. Honestly, Harry, Fantasy's always taken the back seat. I knew for a fact they needed to capitalise on Age of Sigma with as many factions as possible, because once 40k hit, that's all anyone would be bothered about. To me, that was inevitable.
Sunshine Starcraft says, can they buy a new microphone? The sound is so bad. Whose sound is bad?
I think it might be Jacob's, I'm unsure. I think it's more of connectivity problems.
I know Jacob's a bit echoey because I don't know why his room's echoey, but it is.
It is.
What other Xenos factions is there? I can see them bringing out a Kahanba model. But that'll be Forger that brings that model out.
Yeah, I can see that. Especially for Horus Heresy.
Yeah. But I'm more excited to think if they're updating these Nurgle demons, is there going to be a plastic grit and clean one, or are they just going to rehash the Glotkin kit?
That'll be interesting to see.
Right, Paulos says Harry and Jacob's sound isn't the best, it's distant and tinny. Phil, can you turn the PC volume up on OBS?
It's distant and tinny.
Yeah, so if you turn it up on OBS, because that's what people are hearing is whatever's coming into your computer. So everyone seems fine on Skype from our point of view, so it must be Phil's PC. So I'll keep talking, but let us know if that changes. Obviously, it's difficult being able, Skype, the sound volume's fine between the three of us, but what you hear of Phil's is when you hear Phil's mic, it's different to when you hear mine and Jacob because of the way that we're running the program. So let us know if that's any better. So, what else are we talking about?
What other Xenos races are there? Before we move on.
All the elves, Necrons, Tau, Orcs, Nids.
Will we see anything new for Deanstalker? Not when their codex comes out. I'm just wondering whether DW might add any more models to their range. I'm at least hoping so.
Did you see Phil Ward's Heavy Rock Grinder?
They need
Yeah, I want to do that for like a Renegade command tank.
They need what you call it? They need to do the limousine. They need to do the cult limousine.
Yes. That needs to be a thing.
And I think they need to do a cult flyer as well, but I want it to be a helicopter.
That would be cool, like an Apache helicopter for Jake's vehicles.
No Apache. I'm thinking more of like a transport one that transports crates, because it sticks into the mine and feel of them.
Yeah, like literally just painting the colours of an airwolf.
Yeah.
Ball class Predator version of the Repulsor.
I just think they need las cannons or something for Primaris. That's something we've got to talk about now. Primaris Marines, I think, are terrible because they don't have multiple damage.
Yep.
The only thing that is
apart from 3 las cannons on the Repulsor.
I personally think they just need more variety. I think Games Workshop with Primaris Marines was always going to hit between a rock and a hard place. I'm personally glad that what they are now. But that's only because, imagine if they had more variety or more damage output and they started outshining the standard Marines. Could you imagine the backlash on the internet? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do think that they should be working...
When they overcharge, the strength 9, -4, 2 damage. That is not enough. They're incredibly expensive for what they do and they can't do enough damage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in my opinion, the Hellblasters shouldn't have been plasma only.
No.
And then You look at the
Or at least make the heavies D3 or D6 damage.
Do you know what I would like to see in Blood Angels? A 5-man squad of Primaris Marines all equipped with frag cannons.
no, thank you. I wouldn't like to face that.
Am I just a nasty?
I'd play Death Watch. I don't want that to happen. No, in my opinion, I think even though they were like promoting playing however way you like with whatever things you like, or you can have a whole army of melt if you so desperately wanted and it still works. In my opinion, they've lost the customizability of the Primaris Marines. Like the Jump Marines, all they needed was an extra sprue to make them close combat. Like have axes, swords, maybe even like a javelin or like a shield and a hammer. Could have done so much with that. And then with the Hellblasters, I think it's like the front bit of it changes a little bit, apart from like wires coming out of it. You could have changed that. That'd be like a flamer, a melter, a las, maybe even like a grav gun. And it's just that little customizability that would have helped. The Repulsor needed a third weapon. The lots of shots works against Horde. The Plasma isn't that great, except that it's D6 shots, so maybe if they had one where it was just like the Las Rapier, where it's just one single shot at like strength 12 minus 4 D6 damage. The Las Rapier batteries are really powerful because if you get that wound through and they fail their saves, you roll another dice, and on a 3 or 5, the damage becomes 2d6. On a 6, it becomes 3d6 damage, and I think that's all for 100 points.
Fair enough.
And I'm like,
Redemptor is absolutely not worth it at all.
Yeah, and then
She played against one on Saturday, right? And she just shot it down turn 1 because it's a target. It's got nothing to survive or help keep it alive or anything.
The Redemptor, because I did the same thing at a tournament where I literally had admittedly the terrain was very, I wouldn't say barren, but because I had it was very level and very one-dimensional. And I just put me las cannon team on a hill, and I could see that Space Wolf Redemptor shot in one hit. They all was 4 las cannons. I think what needed...
You needed an invul for stars. It needed an invul for stars. It's very hilarious when Contemptors are more durable than a Redemptor because all they had was an invul. Like, not even a Feel No Pain like a Venerable Dreadnought. Even that didn't exist on it. They needed an invul or Feel No Pain on it, and they needed just a couple of different weapon variants for it. And I think it's the same for the Repulsor. It's too expensive. When you look at normal Marine stuff,
Redemptor, the Redemptor right now is a terrain game. If you've got plenty of line sight block and terrain, I think it has a whale of a time. But when you don't, that's when it has the problems. The Repulsor, I think they were lazy with that kit, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
They just kind of went everything in one box, and it's just bristling like it was like something that...
I do not like the grav side of it.
Yeah.
I don't like that on the grav side of it.
Should have made 3 or 4 variants for one box, or maybe 2 Repulsor variants, 2 boxes where you could make 3 variants of each. Because having everything on one tank is that it becomes one tank and people will one-shot it. You've just wasted a load of points on weapons that you probably even didn't bother using, like the missile stuff, because you wanted to use the las cannon, for example, on nothing. You know what I mean?
The super heavy is really good. So it has void shields, and I'm a little bit too unsure how void shields work, but it seems to me that void shields basically mean they don't care about AP, and you don't care about AP, and you have a save against mortal wounds, and in that case, it's got a 2-up save against mortal wounds and normal saves, no matter what your AP is. That's really durable. Except, and then its weapons, I think you can have 2 las cannons, and you can have 4 heavy bolters, or you can change those las cannons for plasma incinerators, but the las cannons are better. It's not las cannons, it's something else, but they're better. And then the weapon on top's pretty decent. It's got some decent firepower, but the most damage you're getting is 3, damage 3. But when I put it to the best loadout with the best weapons and that I would take, it was like 755 points. And at that point, you're like, I hardly have room for an actual rest of my force. And it's sort of going, it's not that many wounds to get through either. It's sort of like, even though it's got void shields and it's a 2-up save, I think it'll last a hell of a long time. But if I'm reading the void shields wrong, then something else is going on here. So what it looked like was void shields ignore a P on your normal save, and then you get a save against mortal wounds, but it didn't say what save it was, so I'm assuming that's your normal save. And if that's right, a 2-up save against everything, no matter what, is pretty crazy. Especially if you fail that save, you can just command point that wall of a 1, and it's like, oh gosh, are we getting into a territory where it's, you know, Fate Reaver, 2-up reroll and invul. So it's a bit crazy. But I think the Primus Marines are missing something. That extra large amount of damage to make them worth it is what they're missing.
That's what messed up on our game, because I was doing 1 wound here, 1 wound there.
Yeah.
Great. Yay, I've done a few wounds.
So I definitely think DW's designed them to have to work with their, their other Marine stuff rather than just Primaris. Howdy, Underdog Pin. Hope you're doing well, my friend.
I wish there was more hours in the day, because I literally don't have enough time to get everything done that I need / want to get done. I've got so much painting to do. But I don't even have that much compared to what I used to. And Phil, you've seen me with some piles of stuff, haven't you?
Yeah.
And I mean, we went through my drawer the other day when we were pulling the Blood Angel stuff out. And realistically, I ain't got that much to paint compared to what I've had, have I?
No.
I've got a big pile of normal Space Marines and Dark Eldar Warriors. But beyond that, it's mainly Genestealer full and a few bits and pieces of other armies. And
Khorne's a pretty big one. There's a lot of Khorne, but that sort of spans Sigma and 40k. So I have to admit though, Khorne Berserkers are brutal.
Sorry?
what?
Khorne Berserkers are brutal. 10 of them.
No. Have you seen the latest combo with Khorne Berserkers though?
I don't know whether it's what I'm talking about. So, like, you have a 10-man Khorne Berserkers and a Rhino. And, like, the Khorne Berserkers, because if the World Eaters, make them World Eaters, so they're 3 attacks each. And then they get a fight twice. And it's like, Death to the False Emperor on 6s, they get even more attacks. And it's like, oh!
Giving them with chainsaws even more.
Yeah.
Have you seen that people are putting their Khorne Berserkers in Alpha Legion tactics?
Yeah.
And they can just go, okay, turn 1 charge, have fun, the game.
Yeah. Pretty crazy.
How can you put them in Alpha Legion?
So they're not restricted.
They're Khorne, but they're not necessarily World Eaters.
Yeah.
They can be World Eaters, and if they are World Eaters, they can be true. That's it.
Like, for example, Jacob's Night Lords can have Noise Marines. Or you can have...
Think of the full troops as more like mercenaries than actual troops.
Yeah.
When they're in different warbands, and that's how it goes fluff-wise.
The last thing, though, is Forge World. I'm actually planning on going in January. I think that's when we're going down with Hellstorm Wargaming, because we can't really find a weekend where we can all go down, and there's not like a...
I think me and Lucy's talking of going down the 9th, if you're coming.
Yeah, so I want to go down in January, because at that point I will have... I'm going to be getting all of my Tyranid Forge World stuff that I want, and then I'm grabbing a whole bunch of Forge World stuff for my Salamanders. It's basically, I wanted to hold off from buying it because I wanted to basically say I have to have this much painted before I'm allowed it, because I bought a lot of stuff recently, so That's what I wanted to do. And I think there's some interesting things. There was a reveal today on Forge World for 2 new Red Scorpion character models, which are some of the new ones that were put in the Forge World Index. So it looks like Forge World started to pump out them. They look amazing. The captain looks great. He doesn't have Red Scorpion insignia all over him, so I'm just looking at him thinking maybe it's only a shoulder pad, and if that's so, I can convert him so nicely to go on my salamanders. The banner bearer is a little bit different because, of course, it's a banner for Red Scorpions, but they both look great. There's even a display base for them as well. So, I mean, they look great. I can totally see, is it Tom? Is it Tom? He's got the Red Scorpions.
Studios, yeah.
I could totally see him picking up them too. They look absolutely great.
However, did you notice the little bit that says you can pick which chapter tactics to use for these mighty heroes?
Yeah. I noticed that.
All Red Scorpion chapter tactics.
And I think that's more of until they come out with their Red Scorpion Index. If they're going to do that.
Do you mean players of Kyrax?
No, because that's Admech and Tau. I'm talking
it's
the
Imperium and Tau.
Imperium and Tau.
It's Imperium and Tau. Have you seen the Contemptor? No, the Leviathan, which is coloured.
Yeah, the Leviathan. But then you've got the other one, which what was I talking about? The war between the Caradons, the Red Scorpions, what was the war? Jacob, help me. The Babdab War. There'll be an index for that. That'll definitely be coming. And that index, I can totally see them having Red Scorpion chapter tactics done there with Minotaurs, with the Caradons.
Minotaurs would be fun.
Yeah, Minotaurs would be fun. So remember last edition they had Preferred Enemy on everything, which was insane when you think about it.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't. I remember like Predators having Preferred Enemy, and I'm like, oh my goodness, that's crazy.
Yeah. Hang on. Rick says, I guess you're not there this coming weekend. What's happening at Warhammer this weekend? I know there's a reason we couldn't go.
It was a Throne of Skulls.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we don't really get that so far. And, tickets and plus with college for me at the minute, like I'm saying, I've barely got any time. Like last night, I wanted to make a new intro for me for the channel for when we do the videos, and I sat down in front of After Effects for over an hour and a half and got nowhere and lost my temper. So I haven't even got time to learn to do that. So finding time to paint at the minute, to be honest, it's hard. Let alone weekend trips away.
I'm hoping they're going to be putting out some more characters now that they've got the Red Scorpion ones out.
What was that, Phil?
I'm hoping they do more of the Forge World characters now that they've got the Red Scorpion ones sort of coming out.
Yeah, there's a lot of Red Scorpion ones because of Kuhn and the Leviathan as well, and then obviously these two, and then they've already got Severin off.
I would love to see Mantis Warriors get a character. That'll be some fun.
Try 4 kids are self-employed. Yep, I can totally understand that. My mum's self-employed, so I can appreciate where you're coming from with that. You don't work, you don't get paid. Simple as that. Right, what's next, Phil?
That's it. That's everything on the agenda.
Oh.
That's everything for today.
I don't think we should go, though.
No.
I'm starting to get hungry, so I may go.
Which means that we'd have to close down the stream because you're the host.
That's right. That's right. I'll stay for a little bit longer. I'm going to finish the highlighting of the armor of my Malaceptor. And then I'll stay until as long as that. So ask us any questions you got. I would like to see DW do more Minotaurs. I think there was so much to explore, even going as far as their own codex. I could totally see that. I think Minotaurs are very unique. I know they put their um, their shoulder pad in the Death Watch sprue for veterans, which was pretty awesome. I have to say so.
I've got one here.
Yeah, because like even the Red Scorpions didn't make it into that, which I think was very interesting. Because if any, I would have picked Red Scorpions to get a shoulder pad in a GW kit rather than a Minotaurs one, because there's so much Red Scorpion stuff out there. There is an Astral Claws one in the box as well, I believe, and there is a few chapter masters for Astral Claws, so that'll be pretty interesting to see.
What is the shoulder pad that is a skull with like a 10-point sun around it?
A skull with a temp. Is that Nova Marines? I think that's Nova Marines.
Maybe. I don't know.
I think it's Nova Marines. I'm not sure. High Lord's shenanigans. My theory is I think Forge will release a book with all the bonuses, Guy Regiments, Eldar Craft Worlds, Necron Dynasties, Tower Subs, Tyranny High Fleets, and Space Marine chapters, etc. all in one book. Yeah, that could be pretty cool.
I can see them updating the indexes.
They need to desperately, because I was talking to Conrad on Saturday down at Darlin, and he said that the links with the Pulsar was like 400 points or something, but a Fire Prism is like under 200. Yet the Fire Prism has superior firepower to the Lynx. The Lynx is twice the cost.
Yeah.
So why would you take the Lynx when you could take an extra 2 Fire Prism, get twice as much better firepower, and still have points left over?
Yeah. I think, like I say, I think for me it was the case of the need to re-update them, especially the Chaos one, to include Renegades and Heretics in that one. And also to give them the Sonic Dreadnought back, because currently they basically said, alright, in the FAQ, we've made Sonic Dreadnought, but you need to basically go literally look everywhere. You need a Sonic Blaster from here, you need a Noise Marine thing from here, you need a keyword, and here's all the keywords that you need to add to here, and it's like, you literally just made a data sheet in an FAQ, didn't you? Yeah, you did.
And not just that, like, it really is a mess. Like, Irilith, the Shadow Spectre XR, doesn't have the character keyword.
Yeah. I do feel as if behind the scenes Games Workshop just said, oh, by the way, we have launched 8th edition and you've got 5 minutes to make these books. Have fun.
I think they had time, just not play testers.
Yeah. I know that Frontline Gaming do all the play testing these days, so...
They don't do all of it.
Not all of it, yeah. But they do a large majority of it, from what I've heard.
I think if they had played testers, it would have been alright, but they seem to be taking their sweet time about the majority of things, so...
It's like I was saying before, the codexes feel like stopgaps because they haven't launched any new models, like...
Oh yeah, no, I think that's one of the biggest problems they have.
Yeah, they should have done Abaddon, so... In honesty, I think once they've done all the codexes, either they'll start re-updating the codexes or they'll make more campaign books with new models in. Like
See, I don't think they'll make new books with like updated rules. I think it'll be kind of like Gathering Storm, where, like you said, campaign books. Like, I think they'll do, for example, they'll do one for, let's say, a new Eldar God, which has been rumored, and that'll have like they'll bring like updated Fire Dragons or something like that, you know, and an updated Phoenix Lord, and then some new models with the new rules inside that book, and then that's like a brand new faction in its own, kind of like a Yunari style. But then at the same time, they're updating some of the older models, such as like the Fire Dragons and shit like that, and then like I can see them doing it with Chaos. So when it comes to let's say they pump out the Emperor's Children at the same time, they'll put something in the book, kind of like how when they did the Demoncles one, they had the Montka and they had the Baneblade stuff in there with the Assassin's rules in there as well. So they get updated along the same time. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think that's what they're probably doing.
Yeah. Like I say, for me, the one codex I hope they either bring, even if it's without updated models, the one codex I hope they bring is Sisters of Battle or Adeptus Sororitas.
Yeah.
They need it.
I think they need. I think they need Plastic Sisters. Reset the clock. Reset the clock. Reset the clock.
Said the thing that shouldn't be said. But no, like I agree. But judging from previous experiences, the past codex releases outside of Death Guard, I don't see them doing models until, like as you say, the Gathering Storm books and stuff. I would just like to see them have their own codex. They're doing well at the moment.
We're still waiting on some Death Guard models as well.
Yeah.
That are inside the book.
Yeah, the Blight launch is still not out, but we've seen pictures of the supposed click-together one with the click-together Redemptor. If there is a click-together Redemptor, I will pick one up because it'll be so cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they've got the Plague Burst Crawler.
Two Redemptors is better than one.
Yeah, they've got Plague Burst Crawler, and then they've got the guy with the bell, and then they've got the guy with the caster dude, the like librarian.
Plague Caster.
Yeah.
Oh, I played against Ben's Death Guard. Did you watch the 200 bat rep yet, Phil?
Nope, I've still got 200 battles to watch on my watch later.
Jim McCarran should have D6 damage clause for being a 200-point model. That would fix it. Absolutely. Totally agree, James. 200 point or drop it to like 160. But yeah, it's too expensive for 200. I think even Hero Duel's pushing it for 400. No, that flamer needs to be back to 18 inches.
I think the Shooter Hero Duel's way better.
Oh yeah, it absolutely is now.
My favourite.
Me and Phil used to argue over which one was better for the in 7th, and I always swore the Flamer one was, and he preferred the Shooty one, and now I absolutely agree the Shooty one is better. If the Flamer was 18 still, and it still had stuff like Ignores Cover or whatever, then I'll prefer the Flamer one still. Phil?
Yeah?
How does the Land Raider fight with 5 heavy flamers sound with 2 Flintstone cannons?
It sounds like it's only meant for open play. It'll be crazy if they actually brought it. So, if people don't know, in Chapter Approved, they're bringing out you designing your own War Scrolls, and you can design your own Land Raiders, the first one, which I think is good. It promotes customizability. Like, for example, imagine they give an example of a Space Wolf Land Raider, but having the Hellfrost cannon instead of the Assault cannon. I think that's pretty good. But it's and then I think, you know, I can finally take like my Dark Angel Liberian Dreadnought because I can use the arm from the Blood Angel one. But then you could go, oh look, I can have dual Hellfrost cannon arms, or you know, you could really be very customizable. But they've only all I've seen is them talk about open play with it, so I don't know whether it's actually going to come to match play. If it did,
it would be an absolute shitstorm for tournaments.
I mean, they already did the Ultra with all the las cannons on. That's got rules for match play, so
yep.
I mean, I wouldn't put them against it, but it's like, imagine a Carnifex with giant monstrous bone swords. I think that would be hilarious. And then imagine like a land speeder with like a grav cannon underneath, or a ball predator with a whirlwind turret, or you know, think what if it was a I don't know, There's the missile turret on the turret on the Sunshark bomber. What if you place that with the Hammerhead gun, or you could go real mental with it.
Yeah, honestly, for me, I'd want only one thing from the Chaos Land Raiders, and that is to equip ectoplasma cannons onto the Land Raiders.
Yeah.
If I could do that, because I know it's for both Chaos and Loyalist Land, then that's we project for next year for a tank.
Yeah.
It's going to be that. I'm going to get the guard more set, and I'm going to put a church on top of it and make it all gothic horror. Night Lords.
James is saying there, move until 24 inches. Are you on about overdrive? You can't charge if you use that.
There's a Kraken way, which is Kraken now as you roll 3 dice and pick the highest when you're doing your advance. You could give your Gene Stealers that, but then you can also use one where you double the amount of your movement when you advance. You double your advance. So if you manage to get 6 there, that's 12 plus your 8 for move. That's 20-inch move. But in my opinion, I would totally just do the stratagem with the Lictor instead.
James' answer is just a hero Joe. Yeah, if you use overdrive, but you can't charge. It specifically says in the stratagem that you can't. Everyone's gone.
I reckon the Holo will be early next year. I think it's coming for Christmas. Then the Blight Hauler and the Clip Together Redemptor is going to be here for Christmas.
Yeah, that's a Christmas thing.
Yeah.
So the hero so you double it, Phil, which gives it its 12-inch, and then Onslaught to move again and charge.
Yep. I think some Tyranid stuff. There's a lot of combos which I really like.
Ooh,
So many different ways to play Tyranids now.
It's mint, isn't it?
Yes.
I mean,
But I don't like cherry pickers. Cherry pickers do it. I don't think that's rude.
Well, don't watch my last battle report then.
It's very rude.
what's rude?
Cherry picking, Jacob.
Like for me,
Hashtag triggered on Jacob.
mixed between the high fleets. I've seen it. I've already seen it on Frontline Gaming and the Long War battle reports.
I think that it is breaking the fluff just for good rules.
Yeah,
I think,
I know what you mean.
and it's sort of like, why?
I agree with you on that, but like for me, if people need and compulsively need to do that, either paint the bases a different cut or make some identification on the model. I'm thinking when it's actually Leviathan, you know what I mean?
No, I'm just not,
No,
I'm fine if they want to go, if they want to explain it like, oh look, my army's just gonna like change the tactics they're gonna use in battle because Tyranids are a very adaptability. But I don't like the thought of going, all my Gene Stealers are Behemoth, all my guys that shoot are Kronos, and then you lose on your synapse for starters. You lose on your synapse, which sucks, and then it just breaks me. It's like why?
I agree. That glove, they only got compared to 40k.
Wow, your audio's going crazy, man.
So anyway, I ran 2 Hive Tyrants, one with Adrenal Glands, dual Slatin Talons, Trigon with Adrenal Glands, 30 Hormigans with Adrenal Glands, 30 Hormigans with Adrenal Glands, 8 Gene Sailors, and a Neurothrope and Venomthrope, all as Behemoth, right? And then I might have had a Malanthrope, an Exocrine, a Dakafex, and a Tyrannofex that might have been Kronos.
And then your Malanthrope could only give them Synapse.
Yes.
Oh.
That's fine, they're not moving.
Oh, man.
Let Phil speak. Phil can
And then I might have used the 30 squad of Hormigans to bubble wrap the entire bubble. And I still lost the game.
See, because you cherry-picked. You cherry-picked, Harry. That's why you lost.
Ben had 3 characters left, and that was it.
You cherry-picked, Harry.
Yeah.
That's why you lost the game. You're a cherry-picker.
Yeah. Right, I didn't. I charged 30 Hormigans at 20 Poxwalkers.
Yeah. You know what's the funny thing about that? You know, when you fight against Necron Warriors or Necrons and they have the reanimation.
Yeah.
Travis kill the model, you gain a plague zombie, and then they get res so they can come back, so you can literally just farm Necrons.
That was the olden days. The Necrons could, which were just the worst thing ever. See, demons need some new models, need some new units. They're desperate for it.
Update models. Slaanesh needs some love.
Oh, I'm talking about all of them. Like, the fact that when you look at, for example, Nurgle has one thing for fast attack, one thing for elites, nothing for heavy support unless you're going to go with the commonly known Spawn, which I think is just disgusting how that's the only heavy support if you want to go pure Nurgle. Or unless you want to get a Plague Hulk. Or you want to use the things that everybody else uses, such as the Soul Grinders. And I think that's just, like, stupid. But then when you look at something like...
Undead Giant, yeah. Not Undead, but Plague Giant.
But it's only... There's no Plague Giants at 40k.
Yeah, but you know how I like to cross over. It'll just be like, oh, this abhuman, yeah, warp it up, give it some disease. Yeah, let's give it like...
Sharpie, don't you dare tease me, man. That you don't have pictures of the new Great and Clean one. Don't lie to me.
Yeah, a new Great and Clean one is needed. See, a new Great and Clean one, the Glockkin model to be used as like some sort of heavy support for the giant cannon. That would be cool.
I would use that as a Imperial Knight. My Glockkin.
So, Paula says, do you guys think that your 40k games are representative of the fluff you read in any of the books?
I'm going to tell you now, the Tyranids right now feel more like 3rd edition than 3rd edition Tyranids.
No. I'm going to say no on mine. But that's only because as a Night Lords player, I should be terrifying opponents. Nothing gets terrifying because...
I think they missed the mark with some of the Space Marine and Chaos Space Marine traits, personally. I think they missed the mark with them. But then, for example, for my Tyranids, Leviathan's supposed to be very adaptable. The fact that my trait has like a toughness value in that, and then I'm not restricted to any certain playstyle. I do think that they'll learn as they've released the codexes and people have played them. It's just sad that Space Marines and Space Marines are the first ones, because the only Space Marine factions you're going to see is Ultramarines. The only Chaos Space Marines you're going to see is like World Eaters, Death Guard, and Alpha Legion, and that's it. I would say our Halloween match was a good example of that.
I personally don't mind them. I think it's just bias here, but I just think like the Night Lords one, if we're talking specifically about my games and my Night Lords, they took the easy way out. I've already said it in the previous video on the Chaos Marine overview of the Codex, but they just missed a trick. They could have said no retreat instead. It's simple, easy to remember, and it's highly refractive because it shows how petrified an opponent or how much an enemy unit is. The leadership game It sounds interesting internally, but externally it does not work at all.
Yes, because you charge in a squad of Iandan Guardians, you kill 10 of them, and you expect at least another 6 plus D6 to run.
And only one runs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stephen Dunn, I think Tower are extremely flexible in what they can do. Yeah, I agree. I just think that the latest codexes are hitting the mark, and the early ones haven't. Death Guard almost did, but I think people are talking about like points balances in terms of Death Guard aren't right at the moment, so that's pretty interesting there. Well, I've got the armor done on my Malaceptor, guys. All I've got left is the brain bits and all my spikes and that, all my spikes on them, and then it'll be done.
I've just been hitting up the chain glaive and the bases, and I've been adding highlights of silver on the bolts and stuff like that.
Alright, guys, I'm going to go now. I'm going to go feed the Titan. Thank you guys for coming in and watching the stream and talking with us. It's been great. Thank you for all of our sponsors. If you do want to sponsor us, you know, they'll be getting battle reports a week early. You can recommend lists and other battle reports, other armies that you want us to see, play.
All on Patreon.
All on Patreon, yeah. Thank you for watching, guys, and hopefully we'll see you next week as well. Thank you.
Yep, thanks for watching, guys.